broadcasting yesterday when people were serving against and with the win. So today is not going to be something to talk about a lot because it's no win so far.
No, it's much calmer today.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we're going to see today. So whatever, that was actually something that was going to be out for sure yesterday, and today that might not be the case. So players going to definitely have to be adapting to the mindset of not having win today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that first point, you saw the defense of Lena and Lane and the offense of DC. So it's differing styles.
That's right. And this is the beauty of pickleball, right? We get able to see a little bit of the strategies coming to unfold. Again, this DC first on the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's a good pull from Andrea. She's pretty well known for her forehand pull, you know, redirect up the line. So whoever's playing the left, I think Lena and Lane switch a lot. So whoever's on the left is going to have to be ready for that.
It's super interesting to see, Brooke, how yesterday players were extremely careful about making fast decisions on balls because it was actually not something they were able to feel confidence about because of the wind. Now it seems that the level of control is actually there because of not having wind.
Yeah, I think the wind is good defense. I think the wind isn't a factor, but also with how hot it was, the ball was super soft, so it wasn't coming up as much. So to pull off of the bounce with the Vulcan ball in the heat is a little bit more challenging. So people are a little bit more cautious with pulling off the bounce, especially today with cooler weather. I think you'll see more aggressive styles.
And interesting, right? Yesterday when we were starting to see the games unfold, you can see the first 4 to 6 points. They will still be like 0-0, 1-0, but now, I mean, DC is actually coming in hot, and you can see how confident they feel by knowing where the ball is going to really be at all times.
Wow, great reaching.
Hey everybody, we're back in MLP presented by DoorDash, and what a game so far. DC Pickleball team is 6-0 up. They just changed sides.
That's a good pull from Lane right there. I think that's something she's added recently to her game that makes her a much bigger threat than she was, that one-handed poke.
I'm seeing that more and more from the female side, Brooke. I think that's just the beauty of what's happening with pickleball. It's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And because you need to, right? Whatever worked 6 months ago, it might not work right now because everybody's getting used to that type of play and be able to, evolve that style. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. It used to be pretty uncommon on the women's side, and it's becoming more and more common. That's a better aggressive play from BLQK. They need to try to take some chances here and not let Mari specifically control the game so much.
So the Black Bears gets a point on the board, still the lead of 6-1. And I tell you, I mean, before the changeover, I mean, DC was making no mistakes. It was like a flawless six first points. And that's such an important part when you play in such a small 11-point game, right? That you really want to start in a good foot, and that's something that I seen. You know, the speed out coming from the ground, from the California Black Bears, good stuff. But tell me a little bit, Brooke. You've been playing. You know, your team is undefeated, by the way. Congrats on that. But you know, the emotions through it, playing such a short game. What's the mentality behind that to be able to be every single point into it?
Yeah, I think that you've seen some adjusting over the weekend with the level rising each day. You know, especially on the challenger side. This is our first event of the year in this format. Great hands battle. And it's a change, the 1 game to 11 versus the rally scoring. I felt a little bit more pressure to start. So just adjusting to that, knowing what your game plan is and being confident in it early is important, because whoever executes early obviously relieves some pressure off of themselves.
That's a great feedback. One of the things that we're trying to do during the broadcasting is to share with our audience the emotions that all the pro players have, so they understand that actually it's a lot of similarities of what, you know, a 3.5 to a 6.0 can have, especially when it comes to decision making and how to work on their emotions during the ups and downs, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, competing, everybody feels some jitters from time to time. That's much more aggressive from BLQK there. That's how they're going to get themselves back. But yeah, and then the added team aspect of MLP is what makes it so lovely and so much fun and so exciting, but it definitely adds some nerves for all of us.
It's super interesting to see. We're looking at totally different pickleball that we saw the last few days. I mean, they're ripping shots. They're really, you know, from the speed up. I mean, yesterday, everybody was just holding on to make sure that the decision was going to be as best as possible, knowing that the win was actually another player on the court.
Yeah, 1,000%. The wind and like I said, the heat with the ball. The ball's a little bit harder today, so it's going to come up a little bit more, giving more chances to attack off the bounce. Bad luck. It's a good point, though. Good hands from Coop. You have Lina and Lane. It's interesting. They're both more left side females, so that's one of the only teams that you're seeing right now playing pretty much straight up. Whereas Andrea and Mari for DC, they always stack, so they know their roles a little bit better, I think. But when you play straight up and you don't stack, it can take a little bit of adjusting.
I said really good, especially coming from the defensive perspective, right? They were able to really do a really good transition and coming into the kitchen and making actually that down the line, the middle shot. But we're gonna have timeout, which I think is the right time.
We all do it, but just accepting that you got to be a little bit more patient when the ball's soft.
Time in.
That's a really good feedback. All right, 8-2.
All right, good timeout. Let's, they need to hold one more time. 8-2-2. If they can get the ball back here and make a little run, now's the time.
8-2-2.
I can see a little bit of evolving, the shifting a little bit more into pulling the ball a little more on the right side, as you can see, and waiting for that pop-up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, DC's played a spectacular game, but yeah, it looks like BLQK had a plan in that point, and I missed the third there, but I do think you're right. The strategy is changing a little bit to keep that ball on the right and see if they can get some offense that way.
2-8-2. 5-2-1.
Well, Brooke, I think we're starting to talk too soon about no win, because I can start to feeling it, and this is going to definitely be an adjustment for the teams, especially as we felt yesterday that where the DC are standing right now is the win against. So a little bit more hitting, stay longer to the shot, and for California to make sure they're not overhitting as well.
Yeah, that'll be a little in-game adjusting. It's a well-constructed point.
And we just talked about it, right? It seems that right now they want to get to that dink opportunity and start moving the ball around to kind of force that error.
Of MLP Austin, I've got to get rid of all of this stuff.
Interesting enough, this is the first time that California is getting a couple points in a row. And interesting, every time they're actually slowing the pickleball, they're actually having more opportunities to be able to come on top now. DC likes the pace. They show us in the first 6 points, and I think the strategy is to slow things down for a little bit and try to grind a couple points, get a little more emotional.
Yeah, you're totally correct there. Great defense.
Wow.
It's a good shot. Great shot by Mari. Good hands.
Wow. And you know, you can see the level is actually rising because of how much California is defending.
282.
Yeah, they'll make you hit 100 balls.
Side out.
All right, quick side out. Let's see if DC can finish it off here.
Go. 821.
And this is when, you know, you have such an understanding of the game, and as we can see there, napkins flying. It was beautiful, by the way. So, Brooke, you're 8-2 up, right? And you know the wind is spiking a little bit. Do you feel that driving should be a good opportunity right now, knowing that, you know, you don't know how much the wind is going to take? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm DC right now, I'm continuing. I'm going to drive the third. Mari dropped that last one and missed it. But against the wind is definitely the side that makes it a little bit easier to drive, be aggressive, and see if they can get offense early, because that's how they've been successful. So if I'm Mari and Andrea, I'm definitely looking to drive on this side. The other side's a little bit more challenging.
Right. And I can see that, and I think I've been talking about that for the entire broadcasting. There are players that they need to get their reps in to start playing at their level. And because it's such a short game, you know, if you're not into it, if it takes 6 or 7 points, you know, that might be harder to get into that group of things. So what do you think for the people that they're slow started, Brooke? What can be a good tip for them to kind of get into it right away in a short game like this one?
This is a great point. Great point there. Good hands from Lena. I think if you're a slow starter, you know, we all have those moments, but just making sure you get a lot of reps in and you're sweating a lot before you go out and play. The more you feel like you've already played a game, the more locked in you'll be. On that cord, there's always help.
I thought that was what's going to go out.
Yeah, the wind has definitely picked up. I'm not sure if you can quite tell on TV, but the wind is definitely picking up. So I think it's going to be here to stay for the rest of the day. It's a nice play from Lane. Nice play. So we got a timeout from DC after a nice little run from BLQK.
And we just talked about it, right? How interesting is this? How when will DC?
Oh, that's a good point. Good point. That's kind of what I thought. That third was left a little bit high, and let them attack early.
that was the the flick we talk about, right? And then right at the important time, knowing that after that timeout, that was the need to get back on serve, and now they are 9-5, ready to seal this game.
Yep, Mari went with the drop. Let's see if they can find a way to be aggressive here.
One of the things that I noted as well, that during all these games is some teams are more pronounced to use dinks as a lot than others, especially with the win.
That's actually a great take from Mari. She just wasn't quite there. Yeah, I mean, the Black Bears want to keep you out there as long as humanly possible.
Right.
They want to grind you down for sure. And Mari specifically is definitely a much more aggressive player, looking to attack the first chance she gets. Oh, that's too bad. That's a great point from Lina as well. You can hear, I'm sure you can hear on TV as well, Lina's one of the best communicators on court, constantly making sure that her and Lane know who's hitting what at the kitchen and at the baseline. So for all of you watching, that's such an important aspect to have with your partner, is good communication, because it's such a shame to lose a point due to, poor communication.
That's a really good point, and I want to explore a little of that with you, Brooke, after this point. I kind of move away from her with the win a little bit there. But yeah, when you talk about communication, right, and calling the ball out, what do you think is so important? Even though people know that they should be theirs, but the reason why being vocal, what do you think is so important?
That's a good flick. I think the higher level you get, the more you hesitate, the worse it is. I mean, at any level, the more you hesitate. So the quick communication, make sure that you have ample time to prepare and make the right decision. Because if you're not prepared to hit a ball, usually the decision making goes down. There's that coup pull down the line. She loves that shot. It's a good ball. Lane wasn't quite ready. She's been on a few of them before, but wasn't ready for that one. Let's see if they can close it out. We got their first match point.
10-6-1.
You know what, I liked it, especially because when she dropped that shot, it was extremely hard to, because it's just like a slice, so it hits the ground and skids.
Yep.
So that opportunity for ATP didn't happen, but I think it was the right choice at that point.
Definitely, it was there. It was there. Wow, what defense. Oh, pays off. They make it hit a lot of balls.
That's true. But the interesting that, when the dink opportunity is happening and somebody pieces out, one of the things I love about watching, women's pickleball, they go at it. They go as hard as they can, and they take no prisoners, which is really important and fun when we are trying to learn the reason behind the shots. But that's just because it's right there on the strike zone, and you have to swing, because if you don't, it will come back twice as hard.
Oh, 1000%, you're correct.
All right, we got our first challenge of the day. Brooke, what happened?
Let's see after this point. Just like that, the Black Bears make it back to the kitchen line. Yeah, when you have an overturn or a net cord, as athletes, we go through that kind of momentum shift all the time. So it's really just knowing what your game plan is, going back to the basics, and trying to execute the game plan as best you can, and not worry about all the things that are happening outside of that. It's a good ball from Mari.
All right, so we are 10-8. California still on serve. This is anybody's game right now, even though it's a couple of points ahead by DC. That can really shift in no time. Super interesting, right? These balls couldn't go out, some of them, because you're in that emotion. You don't really want to let them go, right?
Yeah, and you know, it's tricky. Lane, you know, Lane, I think a lot of those are going in, honestly. It's hard to put the ball away against Lina and Lane. It's a good pickup from Andrea.
Fans, we're back out here with some more goodies from our friends at Freebirds World Burritos. They have been our catering sponsor here for MLP Austin, and they've also been gracious enough to offer a whole bunch of free merch for you fans. So if you guys want something, Jordan's over there throwing stuff out into the crowd. Make some noise!
Wow, what a battle. As you can see, you know, at the beginning, I think a lot of those balls would have been pulled. Hands battles would have started earlier, but, you know, as the score gets tighter and tighter, you typically see the points get longer and longer. The nerves are kicking in, you know, and
I'm nervous.
Yeah, me too. This is where it gets fun. What a battle.
10-10.
Good reset, Mari. Wow,
Oh my God, what a great point. I mean, the defense from both teams. I thought that DC had that point, and then they went back and forward, and this is the beauty about pickleball.
Absolutely, that was a great point from all four. I thought, yeah, Lane was in control. Andrea fought off a few. Mari had a good reset. You know, good from everybody there.
10-1.
All right, they go back on serve. DC for the win.
Giveaways throughout the day. Make sure you're sticking around for more action here at MLP Austin.
Lane's definitely being more aggressive.
Point.
All right, I guess we're gonna have another challenge. This is getting so high up.
Referee timeout. We have a challenge of the out call. The result of the rally is 11-10-1.
All right, so Brooke, we're back into challenge mode.
After review, the out call stands. Lost a free challenge. 2 free challenges remaining. 2 free challenges remaining. Resume play at
All right, so Brooke, goal stands in 11-10 DC.
Yeah, this will be their second match point. It's been a little while since their first match point, so let's see if they can execute. If I'm them, I'm driving this third and trying to put the pressure on. It's a good job from Lane there. Ready for Coop speed up. They've got one more here, though. Let's see if they can.
I feel that California is really, you know, playing the majority of the points to Coop at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. Wow, great
Oh my
point
God,
from
what a
Lane.
great point.
What a battle. She's done such a good job.
So Brooke, what
taking
can
over
you
the
do,
middle.
Brooke? You're getting the majority of the balls. What do you think is the strategy right now coming from DC, knowing that, I mean, they're targeting, you know, Coop, they move a little bit of, you know, Humber to the side just to create some openings in the middle, but how can you handle that now that you know that all the balls are coming to you?
Yeah, I think, you know, that's a good move. Great move. Way to be aggressive. I think that, you know, when you feel like you're being targeted, You know, a lot of times you can redirect that dink up the line because the down the line dink is a little bit more challenging. So thinking maybe Lane will pull that dink cross court to Mari. I think they're going that way because if Mari gets anything out of the air, she is much more dangerous. So they're trying to avoid that flick. Oh, Lena had it. Way to fight it off, Andrea, but Lena played a great point there, got what she wanted, just couldn't quite execute.
You can see now California going for more drives now.
Yep.
Trying to be able to get a better shot for a better drop to get to that kitchen.
Yep, so they let Mari take a ball out of the air, and you gotta know that that flick is coming.
That flick is not, I mean, every time she's using that flick is gaining something, and that's exactly what she got now. Back on serve, 11-all. This is the first game against these two teams.
11-11-1.
Let's see if DC tries to be a little bit more aggressive on the third. Yep, she went for it, but I like it. I like the aggression. They haven't been able to score. The third hasn't gotten them a ton, so third shot drive, fifth shot drop. I think I like the play. Good pull, Andrea. Great pull. That's a great pull. And Mari was ready to clean it up. That was nicely done.
One of the things that I wanted to call out as well is in the previous point, sometimes the tendency of returning hard, but maybe trying to do some underspin just to be able to change a little bit of that point of contact that sometimes can definitely be a different perspective from the player. There's always getting used to getting a hard shot as a return.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can mix things up, the reset. She had it. She had it. What a battle.
And that's going to be the game. DC ends by winning 13-11. What a battle. And especially because DC had many match points to be able to close it.
Yeah.
0-0-2.
I feel that I'm going to see a lot of opportunities for Ernie's. I'm seeing this guy's going to be jumping left and right, trying to get that ball.
Yeah, I think you're totally correct. I saw Stefan hit multiple yesterday. Rafa's known for it. I think they can all do it. This is just going to be who can execute better, honestly.
Second serve.
It's interesting, you know, you go from watching women's to men's, and
1-0-2.
such a different, way of how they handle decision making, how they play, how the tendencies, the patterns.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the men are a little bit more cautious to pull just with the hand speed and the sheer power coming back, whereas the women, we invite the hand pedals early, so this is more chess-like. There's a first Ernie. How many do you think we're going to get?
I don't know. The last time I bet on something, I lost. So.
Oh my gosh,
Dios
what a
mío.
get. Oh my gosh.
So kudos. Kudos.
Wow, Juan, that was amazing. Yeah, the athleticism on this court is high, so this should be fun. Good drive.
All right, so right now we are 1-1.
1-1-2.
You can see that sheer power from De La Rosa coming from racquetball. I think he's got a different level of power than a lot of people out here.
Right, that sport requires so much acceleration from wrist that if you come from a tennis background, everybody knows that you should not be using your wrist when you volley.
Yeah.
So now it's actually something to say, please use it. So a little bit of changes when it comes to the mindset of your previous sport, but that's the beauty of pickleball. You can always adjust.
Absolutely.
Stefan is like truly lefty. If he can get a ball, it's gonna have to be a forehand as much as he can. So it's really interesting to see the varieties of leftiness as well out there.
Yeah, I think that's true. Oh, it's a good move, but Rafa's ready. That's where, you know, you get the benefit of having a lefty because that came right into the forehand pocket.
Right. Right, he's still poached on a low ball, right? And you know, and I know that's increased, you know, for that ball to be offensive because you have to go a lot high, right? And if you really are rushing the ball, you can actually put your hands there like Rafa just did.
Yeah. Oh, it's unlucky.
Out of the game. It's actually going pretty fast.
3-2-1.
You know, like to get points back and forth, and speed of the ball is increasing.
Yeah, it is. A little bit out of control there.
So still on second serve. California definitely needs to get this win here so they can keep their options open.
3-2-2.
Even though we've seen their teams are starting to zero down and they're able to push the dream breaker.
Side out.
That's an unfortunate miss from Rafa, but Stefan's got to be careful with that backhand.
And you know, that's a normal movement for a lefty, Brooke. You always want to hook things, but unfortunately, you know, as my coach always tells me, maybe the middle will be a better option because if you hook it too much, it's out. So, you know, a big shout out to my coach, Maria Lopez. I hope she's watching this game and, you know, being proud of her player, you know, talking about pickleball.
Got all the knowledge I'm learning. Well, so far the net courts have been in California's favor, but it all evens out in the end.
Right. 3-3. Brooke, I'm gonna have to tell you something that is just starting to happen and it's getting hotter. Brooke, I am so sorry because I know you have to play at some point today. So the weather is changing, the wind is spiking. Dios mío, I'm gonna have to talk in Spanish in a couple of words here because now California is taking the lead. Your impression so far, Brooke, on this game?
Yeah, I mean, so we played the Black Bears. Juan's serve is really big, and his drive is pretty good as well. So he's using the wind behind him right now to try to get a short return. I don't know if that was extra short, but they have the offensive upper hand right now because of his huge serve, and they've got that wind behind them. It's a good, well-constructed point from Stefan there, and a good ATP from Daniel, and good defense from Rafa.
I gotta tell you, people are doing ATPs, and players are just like, okay. You know, back in the day, it's like, oh my God, I don't know how to handle it, but they're becoming so aware of the space and the ball, they're able to be like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The ATP defense is a real thing now. You got to be able to get a play on the ball. Ideally, you're not giving them to your opponent, but if it does, you know, the goal is to definitely defend.
3-5-1.
I remember the first time that I was out playing pickleball, and I come with this mindset of tennis. I gotta pull them out, and I'm like, why is happening? I'm getting all these points, and then my coach is like, hey, no, you don't want to really do that.
I think all of us tennis players have had that adjustment. Oh, that's too bad. 2 missed returns from California.
Battle change here.
With this one game to 11, it's really hard to have 2 missed returns back to back, especially after you have that 5-3 lead. So all of a sudden, we're already at 5-5.
5-5-1.
Another good ball from Dan.
MLP, presented by DoorDash, Austin, Texas, and the wind is spiking, and that's one of the things both teams have to be starting to understand. It didn't happen in the beginning of this game, but now we have that as a part of the game. It's getting a little harder, which is going to make the ball to shift a little bit of how they felt on opponent contact. Brooke, how are you today?
Doing great. great. First time in the booth. I'm so excited to be here with you.
You're killing it.
Trying, just trying to be like you.
7-5-2.
Well, let's see. California needs to make a stop here before it gets out of hand.
Point.
Let's go, one here.
That's where Danny's sheer power comes into play.
The wrist is pretty hard to really read it when he puts the paddle there. Like, I feel that the ultimate pickleball player will be a person who spends 2 years playing all these racket sports and none, and then they will have the flick, they have all of it, because it's just, you require so much from so many things to be able to have all of them.
Yeah, you're so right.
What's going on with this net? What's going on? 9-5 DC.
I wonder if we'll see a timeout here. No?
The wind is taking a little bit of
10-5-2.
and that's gonna be it. DC takes the second game, 11-5. Rules. And with Brooke. Brooke, tell me, what are you expecting for this game?
Yeah, this is, I was curious, our first Ernie from Danny. I was curious if we would see the lefty on lefty battle, and it looks like we will. So in this specific match, you know, you're going to have Andrea versus Lina
0-0-1.
trying to set their partner up while Juan and Danny try to insert themselves. So it'll be, you know, who executes that plan better. Juan's going to have to be very careful about that. That's one of Coop's biggest strengths, especially in mixed. So he's not going to be able to play as big as he wants because she's able to pull down the line just like she just did there. Good start for DC.
And yeah, and for the people that you're tuning in, right now, DC has won both gender doubles. And from the perspective of the Black Bears, they really have to come and start getting, you know, a lot of energy, you know, loud, just for them to tell them, yeah, we lost a couple, but we're not done yet. And I think that's important, especially when you're playing MLP.
Yeah, you're totally right. This is a do or die moment for them. That helps.
You call that? You just called that. You just called that shit right there, bro.
Certainly helps. Yeah, if you know, if California doesn't win this game, you know, they don't have a chance of getting even to a dream breaker, which is how you get 1 point. If you win 3 matches, if you win 3-1, you get 3 points. If you win 4-0, you get 3 points, and if you win in a dream breaker 3-2. Then you get 2 points, and the team that got to the dream breaker gets 1 point. So we're all battling for as many points as possible here. So every point matters. They have to try to stay alive. They've got to get both mixed and try to get to a dream breaker.
0-2-2.
I like how you dropped that knowledge just right there. And it kind of natural on there, bro.
Really trying just to be like you.
You saved me from me having to say that. That's awesome.
So that's exactly what the strategy is there. You know, it's going to be which woman is able to execute the dink better cross court while holding their opposing guy on their side as much as possible, while, you know, the guy is trying to get that dink that might sit up a little bit higher.
Second serve.
And the important part is that when the male is trying to get that in reach, I mean, they need balance and coordination, and you know, it's not something that is really easy to obtain, because if you hit and you land in the kitchen, you lose a point. So, you know, when we're talking about pickleball, Brooke, do you think it's becoming more physical? Do you think players have to start thinking about, hey, I gotta stay in shape?
Oh, absolutely. The movement's more physical. The points are lasting longer. The ball's coming faster. The reflexes have to be faster. As we enter the summer, the heat is becoming a major factor. A little bit less today, but this weekend has been crazy hot, and fitness and, wow, what a point.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
Fitness and athleticism has been a factor this weekend for sure. So, yeah, pickleball, you know, while everyone can play, which is why we love it so much, to, you know, to get to a higher level, you've got to be in great shape. There he is.
And they are, I mean, everything that is over De La Rosa's head coming from racquetball, you're gonna feel it. And you know, such a snap that he has, you know. That looks like it's an aggressive movement all over. So far, what do you think?
So far, you know, we're seeing DC, you know, Danny being aggressive as I would have thought. I think it's, honestly, I think it's going to come down to how well Juan can play. This is his first MLP event. It's the third or fourth day of the event, but it's still his first event. So every match he plays, he's going to get better and better. They both have good drives, Danny and Juan. So I think it's going to be which one of them can insert themselves more and be more consistent. Good hands.
It's a great D.
That's a great point. Great point. That was very controlled.
Right, and that's what he needs to, right? As you mentioned, we have some new players that are playing in this MLP, Austin. And, you know,
1-2-1.
the important part is to, I mean, of course you want to win, but just the growth himself, to be able to feel that you belong and that you can make the shots that are required.
Absolutely. Wow, that's unfortunate. Danny wants that one back. Yeah, absolutely. There's quite a few new players. Like I said before, the team aspect adds so much pressure. A lot more pressure than PPAs in my mind, just because you want to do well for your teammates and your ownership, and just prove yourself a little bit, especially if you're new. So each match, you know, I think all of the, you know, the newbies are getting better and better. So it's exciting to see.
That's another great drive there, as California is starting to add points on the board. And you're right, I can't even tell you the first, when I played Davis Cup for the first time, and they put me in front of all those people, I was just trying to hold on, not to double fault.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely an added aspect, but that's why we love it so much.
See my bucket list, bro. It's my bucket list. So hopefully that I can keep working hard and do the right things to put myself out there. But beautiful what I'm seeing so far from the entire display of players that are coming in here.
Good
Oh my God,
hands,
great D.
good hands. Yeah, that's a pattern that he's looking to use a lot. He's already used it twice, and his energy level is rising. And when that's happening, he plays much better.
And we go back to what we talked in the beginning. There are players, they need a couple minutes of rep. They need a couple, they need to sweat. You said it, you know, they need to feel a little bit of, okay, I'm in. And especially when you're coming from being, you know, playing a different event to come to another one. You play doubles, gender, and now you play mix. You have to be able to take more decisions, be able to be more proactive. And I think that's what he needs right now.
Yep, for sure. He had it. That's a good D, trying to make everybody hit one more ball from Coop there. Especially in this format, the more balls you can get back, the better. Even if they're high, as long as you can get it over the net, you still got a chance. There's that pull.
You can see that as a pattern for both sides, right? Coop wants to take it down the line. Juan wants to take it down the line so he can get a better shot to be able to finish in the middle. Strategies are being implemented, and right now,
Drop from Danny. It's a little forced there. A little more patience. There's no reason to go that far wide.
all right, that's right. We have a 5-4 lead here by DC.
Got him again.
And this is super interesting, right? Because usually, you know, that type of strategy, DoorDash, the music is bringing everybody into their seats. And now we continue to watch our first mix doubles.
That's a great ball there. So DC's on a 4-point run right now. It's very important that California gets the ball back right here.
And one of the things that we're noticing is that, you know, the importance of such a small game to avoid as much as you can unforced errors, because they lead to drop of momentum.
You're 100% correct. She's got him. Oh, she had
she
it.
almost got him again.
Danny was a little late. Wow, he's
Now, what
he's
can you
gotta know
say?
that's
What can you
coming.
say to your partner, if you know that he's taking the right shots, but he's not able to execute them well, what would be a big tip for the people that are hearing us that can be a good way to help them?
I think it's just encouraging them, knowing that they're making the right decision, because that's the biggest step, is decision making, and then execution follows. So just, you know, encouraging that was the right shot. And I mean, if you see something, you can tell them. It depends on your partner if they are good at taking feedback or not.
That's right.
Let, reserve,
It's a let serve.
4-7-2.
Just missed. I guess he has a big serve. He went for it. I don't mind it, but it's tough when you're down 4-7 to give the ball back like that.
7-4-1.
Sometimes what I do is when I know that I have the wind with me, I take 2 steps back, and then I try to kind of buy myself a little more flying time, and you know, make sure that I get under more on the ball so I can stay longer at the point of contact, which will create more RPMs in the ball, and you know, I'm getting a little technical here, Brooke. You know,
No, that's
talk
great.
to me.
No, I think that's really good feedback, good idea. A lot of people do that, especially with this strong of wind at your back. It's tough.
I'm going to need somebody to show me that they've got dash pass on their phone. I need it to be open on the phone. I need it to be... My man was already...
Oh, great pull from Lemma. That's a great point. Great point. I think that's the pattern that California wants to get into, is limit dinking with Andrea. If she gets pulled too far wide, Juan needs to hold his line a little bit, expect that ball to come to his backhand. And then if it's more middle, he can kind of insert himself more. It's harder for Andrea to pull down the line when she's more in the middle of the box versus out wide. Yeah, great point.
I think he's starting to become more aware of that down the line.
Yep.
And because he has a two-hander, he can definitely pull that in back into the middle and then force a little bit of pop-up.
1,000%. I went down the line on him once, and he certainly was ready. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just a lot more obvious than Coop.
You're not always. You gotta. I mean, I saw you play. I talk about your game, and it's just refreshing to see. Especially your technique is clean, and I like that.
Too kind.
You're playing with a Andre Agassi paddle, which, if Andre is listening, I have a 1990 Upper Decker tennis card that I would love for you to sign to me, because I've been saving it for 30 years. So Andre, if you can do me the favor, I would really appreciate that.
That's awesome. Yeah, he designed a good paddle. All kudos to him.
All right, so what do we got? With A5, DC is winning this first mixed doubles. It's a good transition there from.
Oh, that's a tough miss.
You know, start giving people good kudos, and then, you know, I jinx them. So
It's a little bit forced. I think, you know, keeping that a little bit more simple. It looked like he tried to
8-5-1.
kind of disguise something. But when you're 8-5 down, keep it simple. Try to get a few on the board. Oh, good D, Lena. Wow, great D.
That's a great
That's
D.
a great point from Danny. Great defense.
great defense. As we look about, you know, the outcome of this game so far, what do you think has been the biggest difference between the DC and California so far, Brooke?
Honestly, it's just errors. I think California has made. Oh, that's good hands. I think California's just given a few more freebies. I think DC's played pretty solid. Honestly, they haven't given too many freebies, and I think the Bears have just given a few too many easy ones away.
All right, so we are 9-5. DC. Seems that California took a timeout. Right, back to MLP Austin, presented by DoorDash. We are in our first mixed doubles. DC is just taking care of business, playing a really good pickleball. They already won the first two gender doubles, and they are a 1 point away of seeing the deal and take this first mix.
Yeah, Danny's played a great match. He's put a lot of pressure on Cal. Wow.
Dios mío.
Still alive. I don't mind it though from Danny. He's been uber aggressive. It's worked.
You know that emotion when you swing a ball, you don't make contact and it goes out, you don't go, thank God. That's what I saw face of California there.
Yep, that was good. I think if Juan can hit a couple big serves here, maybe a couple freebies, they're right back in it. It's a great serve.
Second serve.
So much aggressive.
See if Danny can break the ball.
I can sense it from here that he's really giving everything he got on that ball.
Yep.
Because it sends a message, actually. It sends that, hey, if you don't put it in the right place, I'm going to make you pay.
For sure. And DC, honestly, they had a tough day yesterday. They lost 2 Dream Breakers. And I know in the last one they lost both their mix. So I think they're out here trying to make a statement.
I feel this is the first time that I've seen Juan doing a drop. He's been kind of driving the entire game, and you know,
7-10-2.
I think that changed a little bit of the perspective from DC waiting. You see, he's trying to do that again.
Yep. With oh man, she has owned him from that shot today.
I mean, I was watching. It's like, oh, I think she's gonna go cross court, and then all of a sudden, you know, she moved her wrist and keep it down the line.
Yep, she's very, very good at that misdirect with the forehand for sure.
10-7-1.
Match point. Good draw. It's a good volley. Danny's forehand is, you know, definitely his strength. So as much as you can, you try to get it over to his backhand, which is not bad, but his forehand is much scarier. Great volley. That's how you stay alive.
You can see that in the previous game, as you're starting from, California is actually playing better when they're losing.
Yep.
And do you think it's because they're able to say, well, you know, if I don't change the way I'm playing these points, I'm gonna be done. So, kind of like a little bit of relaxation and self-discipline to be able to start playing at a higher level.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, as competitors, we get. Oh wow, what a point! Yeah, as competitors, you know, when you're about to go down, you either rise up or you just collapse. And clearly, you know, California, they're good competitors, good athletes, so they're rising up for sure. 8-10. This could get interesting. Oh.
And I like it because at the end of the day, they're deciding, you know, if we have to play, we're going to have to play in a way that is going to have to be a little more aggressive in nature because what we're doing right now is now working. And I think that that's something that at the end of the day will continue to give you growth as you continue your path in this sport.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a tough one. The drop was a little high. Leno was off the line and tried to swing instead of reset. This is a smart timeout from DC we have here to try to regroup and close it out on this next match point. As we saw in women's doubles, those are tasty.
Right.
All right, let's see.
Wow, and that's gonna call it.
Play.
That's gonna call it. So DC takes the game and the overall at 3-0. Great job from the beginning. I think that exactly what after have.
Well, I think we have pretty similar strategies when you have righty on righty, but you know, you got Lane versus Mari trying to keep that thing down, and Rafa versus Stefan trying to insert themselves as much as they can. What are you thinking about mixed as a lefty? You fill us in.
Well, one of the things that you know is when you're playing against two righties, that you know that your partner is going to have to think down the line, but you want as well to embrace her to go cross court, so that allow me to help in the middle. And sometimes, you know, you want to avoid the guy so much that now you become really predictable. But you know, I always thought that, especially I'm seeing players that are coming out from tennis, they have such an amazing two-handed back, and why not love being over there, right? But it's just about feelings, and you know, what I love about this is I'm gonna be able to take some notes, and you know, DC right now is already had won the overall. So the perspective of I'm on court,
0-2-2.
the team lost, but I still can see value on winning for my team. How you navigate that, Brooke, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, this is a long season, so in these types of matches for both teams, it's all about getting more experience, more time together on court.
2-0-1.
The pressure is a little bit off, but it's still there. You know, everyone still wants to win for their team, win for their owners, win for each other, so the pressure's still there, but I think it's just good. The more time on court you have together, the better. Ooh, Lane was there.
Good. And I like how you see the overall effect
2-0-2.
on this type of events, right? You know, you're really not losing. You're really experiencing growth as a team. You are understanding the things you have to work on, and at the end of the day, you know, not only do you have to play these type of events, but then you go to your PBA Tour events. They are more you focus on yourself. So it's a long year ahead of a lot of players, and you know.
For sure, and it's fun. I mean, people, you know, love MLP because you see different matchups that you wouldn't see in PPA. Not necessarily on my team, considering I play with Zoe every week and Zoe plays with Pablo, so no matchups there, but you know, I don't think I've seen any of these players play together on the PPA Tour, so it's always fun to see new matchups, new styles playing together, new personalities. So there's where I think lefty on lefty is different for Mari, because typically in mixed, she pretty much only plays with lefties, so when she pulls that flick, it's a female in front of her, but instead today she has Rafa, which is different, so it'll be interesting to see if her strategy changes on her spot on her flick, or if she's still gonna go right at Rafa. It's a good point from Lane.
And you're absolutely right. You can see how the point of contact from Rafa, being as a lefty, is just shifting away from her body. That if it was a right-handed player, it will go through her,
Correct.
and then she can definitely move that wrist and trying to create some acceleration and diverse that ball.
Yep, you're totally correct. And you know, historically, you know, Rafa's going to be more on the line than a female as well, so that ball might be coming back a little bit quicker into a different spot than she's comfortable with. Stefan's there for that middle.
Right. Great shot, actually, but because it's a lefty, you know, he already knows that that's a ball that he's going to have to be able to take.
Yep.
So far, we have California winning this game.
3-0-2.
Yep, so Mari chose her different spot there.
Right.
Lane backed up off the line, so it opened up the middle, and Rafa had to hold his line because Mari's flick is typically, you know, straight ahead. So Mari mixed it up there. Oh, she's just a little ahead of that. Off pace. Stefan got her with the off pace.
Right, the ball is coming in a different direction as well, and the body as well. So when you're reading a righty, it's totally different than reading a lefty. And lefty has they have the ability to be able to hook balls, and sometimes they can hit behind and it still create some RPMs, and it's kind of confusing sometimes.
Yep, you're totally right.
Second serve.
And how much lefties do you see on a weekly basis? You don't see it quite that often, right?
No, I don't. You don't see it too often. I think you know, more and more are going to come in, but right now, not too many.
Seems that I'm selling myself pretty well right now, Brooke. For people that are hearing us, they might be looking for a lefty partner.
Good point. Oh. Yeah. If you're, you know, if you're.
I'm using this platform to just embrace myself big time.
I mean, why not?
No egos.
No. Gotta find yourself a girl who loves the left.
Right.
Got a great mix partner right there.
That's right.
It's interesting. So far, Lane has been the most aggressive person on the court. And I think she's been working on that a lot because historically she's known as more of a defensive player, but she's definitely working on adding. Oh. So we have another challenge here.
Are you challenging?
DC Pickleball team.
Lost a free challenge. 1 free challenge remaining. 2 free challenge remaining. Resume play at side out. 1-3-1.
All right, and then DC gets the point. And still
Time
1-3
1-3-1.
bottom serve.
That's a great drop. Nice job, nice point. Good defense from Lane, but Stefan is too big in the middle.
Yeah, he has a really interesting way of swinging that is kind of hard to kind of read it. He goes from a full swing to a kind of like a high five volley.
Yeah, wow.
Good.
That was really nice. He's not overly powerful. He's a very big guy. He has a lot of reach, takes up a lot of space. He's not going to blow the ball through you like a De La Rosa, but he's got different patterns and different strengths that are tricky out there.
Point. 2-1-2.
It's exactly what shift the momentum. You know, we have California 3-1 up, and now they're 4-3.
4-3-1.
And you know, that's a little of a combination of great shots from DC, a little bit of frustration from California.
Yeah, 100%.
Point.
It's just bad luck. Rafa's on that ball just a little bit
I think that
late.
he'll make that ball if it wasn't windy.
Yeah, probably. I think honestly, I think Cal's been up 3 of the 4 matches maybe early, and then they've kind of let some errors slip. We have a lefty staying here, so it's just a different pattern, and it pays off.
That's right. But it's interesting because Stefan does not hit backhands.
No,
And
doesn't want to.
Which strategy-wise, you leave more open. So that decision has to be so pristine to know that even though I'm not hitting backhands and I'm leaving core open, I'm gonna hit in the right spot to compensate.
Yeah, he's a very smart player. Like I said, not overly powerful, but smart. And they have him stay again, Rafa on the left. I don't know how many points Rafa's played on the left, but
I've done that.
you've done that.
I've done that.
Tell me about that.
Well, you know,
what's the plan there?
first of all, you're looking for the player to feel comfortable, especially your team member,
Yep.
because you know, like I said, not everybody plays.
Second serve.
It's tough. He's got to take that. It's a tough miss, but the right
Right.
play.
So continue to be able to shift based on what's gonna make the team be better, and you have to know sometimes you gotta play in the spot that you don't even want to play just to facilitate the confidence being growth. But he changes now.
Yeah, that's unlucky neck cord, but Mari had great hands there to get them back in this point. We'll see if Rafa stays again. Yep. So far it's worked.
Right. This is the first time, and that's interesting because as a lefty, if you are going kind of like shifting the ball out and you hit it late,
5-3-2.
you don't hit it from the outside, it will not hook, and that will be ball, you know, going a little wide.
There you go. Yep, Lane's got us know that's coming. If I'm Lane, honestly, I'm going middle with that dink, and then I'm pulling Stefan out, because that's the only way.
All right, everybody, we're back in MLP Austin, presented by DoorDash, and we are changing side.
3-6-1.
California back on serve. Here we go.
Point.
Just wide.
I think that definitely at this point, California has to get a little more aggressive, and you know, Rafa to do his thing. I think that's definitely going to help that, you know, the energy of the team.
Good get from Stefan. I don't mind the play there. Yeah, I think you're right. California's gotten a lot of good looks. I think Rafa's missed a few that I think he normally makes. So if they execute a few of those, they're right back in this match. She had it.
This is the first time that we see her missing that shot, and we've been playing for quite a while, so that tells her how good she is when she's performing that stroke. Really reliable one.
Yeah, it's definitely one of her weapons. You know, she's looking to build every point around it, honestly. It's hard to defend for sure.
6-5-1.
Fans, no blow is a refreshing taste of New Zealand's finest Sauvignon Blanc. Go try a glass at their tent.
Oh, great shot.
The official wine of Major League Pickleball.
It's a great point from Lane. I think that one needs to be a reset from Rafa there, but it's a great point.
Yeah, I can see why. He was pulling a little more to the middle there, and then even though he made contact on that ball, he still left his score open.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see when you see the review, and a lot of people ask me, you know, when they're playing, it's like you spend time watching film. It really helps you. If you really want to understand what the pros are doing, they're not making these choices just based on emotions. They're really thinking about what will be the outcome of my decision to myself, the score, and my partner.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's easy to sit and say, well, they should do this and that when I'm sitting in the commentator booth. It's a different story executing under pressure and in the moment.
Right. I'm a firm believer of data. I wrote a book about it, Brooke, and I can talk to you more about that offline, but the importance of keeping track of decisions to allow you to be able to review them during the game and trying to come up with an alternative is needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, pickleball is definitely a game of percentages, executing strategy. So I think that's extremely helpful. 9-5, they're kind of running away here. Still having some success with Lane on the right. Let's see if they...
5-9-1.
If they're going to keep her there.
15 seconds.
Great point from Lane. She's really improved her offense in the last few months.
6-9-1.
Time in. 6-3-1.
Good cover.
I got it. 7-3-1.
Wow, great point. Great point.
Really high-level pickleball we're watching right now for sure, Brooke.
Yep.
I mean, defense, resetting, attacking.
6-9-2.
It's amazing to see what these guys can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Great drive, Rafa. That was like a...
That's the mini
off
drive.
speed, yeah.
Mini drive, which is hard.
It's so effective, though, and I need to remind myself to use it more. It's so effective, especially when you're unwinding a stack. Oh, she did all the hard work. She got up to the kitchen. It's a good point, though. It's well done from DC not giving up the court. They let her get in, but they didn't let her totally get to the kitchen. They held their ground. Didn't overplay either. It can be easy to overplay when the team's making a lot of balls.
9-7-1.
Yeah,
Point.
That's a great flick.
that's well
And
done.
she has this ability to be able to see the ball, put the paddle in front, not showing where it's going to be at the last second. A quick flick and done.
Yep, and she's done a good job being able to hit all the spots, which really makes it much more difficult for her opponents.
There we go.
Point. Game.
And that's going to seal the deal.
DC Pickleball team.
And DC Pickleball takes the last point, winning the overall 4-0. It's been a really good game overall. I think that California played a really outstanding pickleball, but at the end, DC was able to capitalize in the important times